the whiteboard as well. So gentlemen, the planning has been done. No, we don't want to stop it. Okay, so gentlemen, okay, so the last point is the response. Whatever the planning you have done, whatever the response you have suggested, how you implement it. I will explain all of these terms, not an issue. And I will talk about that whenever you have a risk, so what methods you normally use. So gentlemen, you may be using the risk avoidance, you may be using the risk reduction, you may be using the risk sharing, and you may be using the risk retention. So I will be explaining all these terms, what it means. Then this is the first management, risk management. In the risk management, we'll be talking about these topics. Then I will be talking about topic number 2, or risk, the management of vulnerability management. And I hope that you know the vulnerability, but if you don't know, I will explain to you what we mean by vulnerability and how we manage it. This vulnerability management, I will look at the cycle, which is, for example, discovering proactive assets, accessing, reporting, remediation, verification. So what are these? I'll be talking about them, no big issue, but you should at least know that what are my intentions for the today's lecture, or goals from today's lecture. Then is to, you have to manage your assets, asset management. This is part of the secure device management, because device is an asset. You know, anything of importance is an asset. So devices are definitely the assets. So you securely manage them. So this is the number 3 topic which we'll be covering. Not the topic, but micro topic or mini topics, whatever you call. Very important from today's perspective is the mobile device management as well, which is an asset part of the asset management, gentlemen. Mobile device management. And you might have heard about the Meraki solution, our mobile device management system, which are used for mobile device management, definitely. So we are not taking a complete course on Meraki. Meraki is a complete solution, but at least you should know the name. And then we'll be talking about the configuration management, because whenever you have devices, you understand that you have the configuration. You have to configure this hardware or application or operating system. You have to manage them. You have to configure them. So when you have to do the configuration, so you have to do the configuration management. And gentlemen, after the configuration management, you have to look at the number 6, enterprise patch management. Patch, you know, if you don't know, even no problem. I will explain to you very simply that what is a patch. So enterprise patch management. And finally, we will be talking about the patch management techniques. And what techniques you will be using for patching. So patch management technique. So I hope with this introduction, you are clear what are our goals for today's lecture. Okay. So gentlemen, first of all, I want to explain what is the risk. Anyone can tell me what is the risk? Fauzan especially, because he's more interested in the security. Hugh Fauzan, you are not with us? Chali, can you say a few words, Muhammad? What is the risk? Because we are near to the ending this course now, at least we should know what is the risk. The risk is the probability, the chance of, okay, probably he's written something. Yeah, the potential danger to an organization asset. The potential danger to an organization asset is a risk. Or you may say risk is the probability of loss or the probability of damage, right? Or you may even say that probability of exposure, loss of critical assets and sensitive information, or maybe the reputational harm as a result of the cyber attack. So whenever there is an attack, whatever the loss you may bear, probability of something bad to the asset, very right, very short, very concise, that it is basically, risk is the chance, the likelihood that something bad will happen to your organization. And by organization, we mean the assets. So this is the risk. So we are clear with the what is the risk. So we have to manage this likelihood that definitely it is something very bad, that something bad will happen to our organization. It means to our assets, to our devices. And understand what mean by, you understand that what mean by, who left us? Amir left us. Okay. So we understand that the whatever is important for our organization is an asset. So something is, which means something important for us, is the something which is attacked by the bad guy, right, gentlemen? So how we manage it? So there are certain steps which I already wrote on this here, and I want that you should, and I should share it with you. Okay. So I shared this screen with you. So gentlemen, whenever we do the risk, first of all, in the risk management, you have to identify the risk. What I mean by identifying the risk, gentlemen? It means that you are first of all, identify your assets. It is very important, Muhammad, that you should, when you are working in an organization, you must identify what are your assets. Asset number 1, asset number 2, asset number 3, which may be your end devices, which may be your intermediate devices, security devices, your info, your data, your databases. So all of them, your softwares, your application software, your system software, all of these are your assets. So first of all, identify them. So you identify that I have, for example, 10 assets. Good. Now each asset, look what are the vulnerabilities which are there. Which are there. For example, I have a Windows 7 machine. I have a Windows 2000 server on which I am running, for example, on a certain application like a web server, for example, or a email server, for example. So now I have two things. One is the operating system, other is the application software. So I have to look at what type of vulnerabilities are present in this server and what type of vulnerabilities are present in this software, in this application software. So based upon this, I will, and everything need to be documented. Everything need to be documented. Then you have to look at that to this one, who can use these vulnerabilities, which means your threats. Who can be the source of threat for you? Identify them. So this is the first part, which is the risk identification. So at least you identified your assets, number 1. Number 2, you identified your vulnerabilities, means weakness in your devices, assets, and then look at the threats. maybe the software threats, which mean maybe the malwares, or maybe the denial of service, which is the threat. Any threat can be, maybe the ransom. Anything can be the threat for you. So identify them. That is number one. Now, come on, gentlemen, and do the assessment. Number two step, do the risk assessment. What we need to do in the risk assessment, gentlemen, that was the reason I wanted to explain it again, that you perform the CVSS, which means scoring it. And based upon the scoring, then you understand, you can prioritize the risk. Which risk is more dangerous? For example, if you are depending upon your environment, like for example, if you're working in a bank or with me the financial institution, that will be something different. If you're working in educational institute, it will be different. So you have to score accordingly. You have to score accordingly. So based upon this score, now you know that what you have identified your risks, and you have identified, you have assessed the risk, the priority of the risk, the grading of the risk. Why we grade you? Why Cisco grades you? Because they give you a certificate. Because to the talented student, they give the discounts. Like you understand that, as I informed you as well, and that is something good news, that Tabish got 58% off. And you know, this is something dollars. If you assume around $350, 60% is around $200. So $200 multiplied by 150 saving is not something less. So gentlemen, that is the advantage of hard work. When you do hard work, you get the fruit. So similarly, we do the assessment of this, then we sit and we plan a response. We determine the risk response, which means the actions. Response means the actions. If this happens, what will be our actions? What will be our line of actions, which means the points? Note them and then implement them. Once you implement them, gentlemen, then it is also very important that you should monitor. Now you know that this is the vulnerability was there. You fixed it, for example, or you defined some methods, some actions. So definitely it is important that you should look at that what is the output of this whole work, all this complete cycle. Okay, I can open this as well. Yeah, so you can see here, gentlemen, that in the risk management, if I can make it a little larger. So important for me is this cycle. Important for me is this cycle. And do remember, when I say a cycle, Fozan Tabish, it means that it is not something which you have to stop. You have to do it repeatedly in your organization. Like you have to do the CVSS regularly, because new vulnerability will come to you and you have to grade them. Like we don't do that. We only teach for 4 years and then we stop because we did our job. No, we repeat. We take more students, more tasks, and definitely we come up with new problems, and we try to give some actions, and then we monitor this, that whether whatever we have done, whether it has some good points or not. Like people know, like that the engineering studies in Pakistan now is based upon the OBE. What is OBE? It is an outcome based education. And what is mean by an outcome? You monitor your output. That what was expected output of this program, whether we are getting on them or not. So you have to monitor your actions, what you have implemented, and then assess the result. That whether your result, very good, Tabesh, and this process continues forever. in an organization, because you will be implementing newer softwares, newer hardware in your organization, and even the older softwares or hardware might, the bad guys may explore something new vulnerabilities for you, or the vendor may provide you the information about the vulnerabilities. So it is not something which you can stop. So gentlemen, now what I want to explain with you is that what is the ways to respond to identified risks. Now you have identified a risk, you have identified a vulnerability, you have scored it, everything has been done. What I should do? I should avoid it. What it mean by stop? It means risk avoidance. What it means, gentlemen? It means that you should, for example, an application was there which was performing some job. Now, definitely when you talk about the actions, it needs some labor as well as might be some technical expertise, or maybe some amount as well, financially, maybe, or you may have to hire the services of some expert. You have to pay him. But you have to look at, gentlemen, whether you, for example, if it happens even, whether this application or this service is something beneficial for your organization, because it is an asset, it is something important, maybe or may not be now. If it is not important, stop it. Stop performing the activity that creates risk. You got my point? For example, there was a old billing system in an organization, no more required or have very little significance. So why I should be protecting it, and not I should stop it. So this is one of the way to respond, because we have said that we will be, in the third point I said that risk response. So how you will be responding to this risk? Number one, avoid it. Number two, reduction. Take some measures or propose some measures to reduce the vulnerability. That is number two. Definitely what you will be doing for this, as I said, you may be installing some patches. That is one of the way to reduce the risk, or you may upgrade the system, for example, or you may come up with some newer technologies to implement. So it depends. This is called risk management. Then is for example, if you can't do this reduction, this technically you are not so much superior, what you should do? You should be sharing it with it, maybe giving it to third party. For example, an organization is there which is having the security experts, and you give this task to them, please help me. So you are sharing, you are shifting the risk to a other party. And the last one is risk retention. Retention is from retain. Okay, I accept it. I will not take any action. Why? Like, for example, as I gave you this example many times, that you have, gentlemen, many computers in your lab in the UET, for example, and maybe the total number of computers which are there, maybe 1,000. But as compared to these 1,000 computers, the computer which is carrying the CMS database is much more important. So if these 100 computers become part of the attack, become the risk, or the threat actor may attack them, we don't care. Because what we have to do, just to install the new softwares again, and the computer will be ready, because it doesn't have any data, or the student have just a data for their some tutorials or some training tasks. If it is gone, even we don't care. So what we are doing? Retention. Be there. We are not interested to give it to, neither we want to close it. With me, we are not interested in risk avoidance, nor we are implementing some methods, some techniques, some specialities, some technologies. No, nor we are sharing with someone. So this is, we are not taking any, we are not responding with any of these methods. We are keeping it, okay, no problem. So this is called risk, 4 ways to respond. Does it make sense, Tabish, Fozan?
Yes,
And
sir.
okay, nice. And okay, and the third person with us is Muhammad. Muhammad, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next one is Muhammad, is the vulnerability management. Now you found the vulnerability and you want to manage it. What mean by this good term, this fancy term? Vulnerability management is a security practice designed to, there are two ways, gentlemen. One is called proactive and one is called reactive. This, I need to explain the difference between these two, proactive and reactive. Here in the vulnerability management, we go for proactive management, proactive method. What mean by proactive versus reactive? Gentlemen, the difference between the two is, in the reactive, when something bad happens, then we will, just say Pakistani, especially we Pakistanis do the same, that normally what is our strategy is that when it will happen, we will see it. If somebody will attack us, then we will try to respond. This is the reactive approach, not good. While in the good approach is proactive approach, which means before occurrence of an event, you try to fix it. You try to look at it. This is called proactive approach. So, gentlemen, what we do in the vulnerability management, that we proactively use some methods to run a cycle, which is called vulnerability management cycle. In it, what we do, as I said into the last case in the risk management, that we discover our vulnerabilities. So here we do the same. We discover our vulnerabilities. That, as I said to you earlier, reactive is defensive and proactive is attack approach or pre-secure asset. Before the attack occurs, you are working on it. So this is the proactive approach. So always try to be proactive, right, gentlemen? Although we have the policies for both in the security. Okay, so gentlemen, we look at we discover them. So what do you mean by discover? Develop a network baseline. Identify security vulnerabilities on a regular automated schedule. This is not something, once you did it, okay, now sleep, be cool. No, constantly you will be looking at how you discover the vulnerabilities. For example, I told you, look at the performance of your computer or your machine. Look at, for example, the bandwidth usage. Look at the processes which are there. Look at the memory. Look at the hard drive. Look at everything which is occurring. If there is something unusual, how you will find it is unusual? Because you have the baseline. So if something is against the baseline, a big deviation is there as related to the baseline, so you've discovered something, or something bad is there. Then prioritize your assets. I explained to you already which assets are important to you. Like, for example, I said you have 1000 computer on one hand, and on the other hand you have the one CMS computer. So that is, you have to prioritize your assets. That operating system, that bandwidth of this computer, the application software, the Oracle is there. Oracle, prioritize them. Simple. Then whatever you have discovered, you have prioritized them. Now assess them. How you will assess them? How will you prioritize them? I said to you that you will be using some of the methods like CVSS to prioritize your vulnerabilities. Then you assess them, that whether they are or they are not. Then report them. Assessment determine the baseline risk profile to eliminate risk based upon the assets criticality, vulnerability, threats, and assets clarification. So assess them. You will be assessing them with the baseline. Then report them. Remediate them. And remediate means solutions. And then verify your solution, implement your solution and verify them whether they are working or not. ये तो नहीं है कि कुछ भी नहीं आपने काम कहा किया वो उसका कोई भी इफेक्ट नहीं है और and you are happy. No. So these are some of the as I said earlier, report them, measure the level of business risk associated with your asset according to the security policy. Remediate means prioritize according to the business risk and address vulnerability in order of the risk priority. जो ज्यादा वो है डेंजरस उसको पहले ठीक करें. And finally verify that threat has been eliminated through follow up audits. तो फॉलो अप करते रहें कि कहीं ये तो नहीं कि आपने कुछ किया वो उसकी वो रीजन नहीं था, आप कोई गलत रास्ते पे चलते रहे. So this is the second step, gentlemen, which is called the vulnerability management. Then is the third one, which is the asset management. Asset management. So a good graph is here, which we can look at. What is? Collect the current state of all authorized devices. Collect current state of all devices, I may say. So this is something. And number two, specify the desired state, what you expect that it should, how it should behave. This is your desire, because you have designed something. So when you have designed something, you have some desire about your design. I hope you understand my point. जैसे कि you buy something, you buy a car, and you have a desire now that now this car will take you from home to your office within 10 minutes. On the road, it will not be stopping anywhere because of any fault, for example. So this is your desires. So what you should do, collect current state, because what we are doing, we are assets management, which means the implementation of system that track the location, configuration of the network devices and the software across the enterprise, because you are doing this task for your enterprise, for your company, organization, whatever it is. So gentlemen, in the asset management, what we do, we implement a system. What this system do? It tracks the location, where my server is, where is my location of my, for example, if somebody, you are the boss of a company in a SOC, in the SOC, and you don't know where is your web server because somebody told you that web server is under attack, you don't know the location. You don't know the specification of the web server. You don't know the operating system. You don't know whether Apache or which version of Apache is being there. So you are not the boss then. So it is very important who are the administrators or the super user, who are the other users, less privileged users. How you have configured these devices? If you don't know, definitely you are not the boss then. Then you have to only look at the reactive. Some method may come or Allah's help may come there. Otherwise, it is very difficult. So in the assets management, what do? You you basically form a inventory. In the inventory, you tell us, you record with yourself that what are the, number one, what are my assets, where they are located, what are the configuration of these devices, maybe the intermediate devices, maybe the security devices, maybe the end devices, and what are the softwares which are installed, or software means maybe the application software, maybe the system softwares which are installed. So it is very important that you should know them, and collect the current state of all these devices, how they are behaving now, and how you expect from them, what is your desire. Now definitely when you will compare the two, you will find the discrepancies. For example, if the uh, you got something 90% usage, you were expecting 50%, it means 40% is more. So definitely there is some discrepancy. Maybe that you have installed less hardware. So find the discrepancies in your device state and then correct them. Definitely discrepancy इसलिए तो नहीं मालूम कि हमने उसको ड्राइंग रूम में लगाना है. Correct them. As I said, for example, the RAM was less or the processor was weak, improve them. Or maybe the some software was there which was old enough, have more bugs, and then accept risk or update policies. So this is something, gentlemen, which is related to the asset management. So what are the tools or techniques for asset management? Automated discovery and inventory of the actual state of the devices. As I said earlier, develop an inventory. It is very important for an organization. Okay? Then articulate, which means write, of the desired states of those devices. Then identification of non-compliant authorized assets. For example, if you are working in a health organization, HIPAA is there. We will be talking about this in the coming classes as well. So we have specific standards for specific companies, organizations, enterprises. It is a financial institute. It has its own standards, whether you are compliant with this or not. Asset is authorized, but the policies are not in line with the standards. Then if not, remediation should be done, corrections should be done, or acceptance of the device state, possible iterations of the desired state definition, and then repeat the process at regular or ongoing intervals. So as I shown you here, gentlemen, that this is not something that is finished. If you are be going back here, you will be going back here, going back, coming here, and this process will continue forever. Otherwise तो फिर आपको एक ही दफा तनख्वाह दे के फारग कर देना चाहिए ना, तो नहीं किया जा सकता. That's the reason you are getting the salary every month, right? Then is, gentlemen, the next one is very important, very dangerous, is the mobile device management. Because you understand, I have explained many times that the recent trend in the networking is bring your own device. Bring your own device. And that device, you understand, when it is my own device, which I'm bringing into the company, so definitely company cannot give me some directions that you will not be using it in a cafe, you will not be using at home, you will not be using at the airport, for example, or when you are traveling. So which means in public networks you will not be using it. No. So that is the reason there are huge chances that something bad may occur from these mobile devices. So as I said, mobile devices cannot be physically controlled. on the premises of an organization. You cannot say to your MD, laptop use kiya, very good, now leave it with us, get it tomorrow. No. Or if there is a salesman who is in the market, you can't say to him that this computer, laptop which you have, or the smartphone which you have, you will be not using it in the market. Definitely he is in the market to grab the orders. So it is important, gentlemen, that you should have a mechanism for management of this. Is your also your assets, but these are such assets which are mobile. So that's the reason you need to have specific tools for only these mobile devices, like your laptops, like your smartphones, tablets, blah blah. So I explained to you just by name that we have certain tools like Meraki Systems Manager, which has a GUI interface through which you can manage the mobile devices. अगर आप में से कोई इंटरेस्टेड हुआ, like Sajad Raza sir showed us his company devices connected to the Cisco software. Very right. Yes. क्या ख्याल है सजाद रजा को फिर कॉल करेंगे जी, कोई और हमारे लिए तैयार करे? ये उससे पहले महमूद साहब से करवाते हैं, ही इज इन यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स, उनसे बात चल रही है, उनको कंप्लीट करते हैं. ओके, सो दी mobile device management system allows the security personnel to configure, monitor, and update a very diverse set of mobile clients. So this Meraki will connect to the devices, mobile devices, will configure them so that they may not become vulnerable. They may be safe for the company, for the organization. So this is again very important task in the security device management. Security device management. Okay, gentlemen, are you comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, nice. Then is the configuration management. Configuration management. You have the very good everything on your desk in your organization. The devices, the end devices, the intermediate devices, the security devices. You have bought the latest one from the market. Huge investment is there. But you understand, if the configuration is not right, it means you have a very good house, but you have not kept the lock on the right place. You have left, for example, the gate open. So this is something fault at your end. So gentlemen, it is very important that you should do the configuration management. Configuration management. What it means? Configuration management. Like for example, if you have a web server, so let it be Apache. If it is Apache, then you need to configure it properly. So who will be able to log into this web server? Whether he only can read the contents or change the contents, or may become the administrator of this web server. So you have to, this is all dependent upon the configuration. What is the configuration about passwords? How long it should be, for example. How the strength of the password should be there, for example. So comprises a collection of activities focused on establishing and maintaining the integrity of products and systems. So definitely with bad configuration, the integrity is on risk. Integrity of the system or the product is at risk. So how you can maintain the integrity of your system? Through control of the processes for initializing, changing, and monitoring the configuration of those product and system. So you should constantly look at the configurations of your devices and see कोई गलती तो इंसान है, गलती तो नहीं रह गई. That is the reason it is again a complete cycle that you should be following repeatedly. See? So again, gentlemen, those of you who will be interested to do the DevNet, very, very important nowadays, gentlemen. I showed you even, if you remember, I showed you the trend. And this is why important, because you people are the future. And you must know what are the, मतलब स्टूडेंट का हमारे सबसे बड़ा इशू ये है आज भी कि वो कहता है कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, ट्रेंड फ्यूचर किस चीज का. मैं ट्रेंड नहीं कह रहा, ट्रेंड को फॉलो नहीं करना, जो आपको अच्छा लगता है वो करना चाहिए. लेकिन इंडस्ट्री क्या मांग रही है, फ्यूचर इंडस्ट्री क्या मांग रही है, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, जेंटलमैन. And I showed you this slide from a conference which held yesterday, organized by Cisco. Learning never stops. And the slide was about, this is something which I wanted to share with you. Gentlemen, you need to take one of the area, at least one of the area. You may be going for a data science, hot, future is there. Cloud operations, secure cyber security, which we are doing now, and then the automation. These are the technology skill needed for the future. So spread it to your friends, because unfortunately they don't know. And when they enter into the market with this perception, with no knowledge, no something about the future, masla. So lot of opportunities are there in these areas. I hope you agree with me. So if you take this course of DevNet, we will be talking about the Puppet, Chef, Ansible. Yes, as I was explaining, Tabish said that these are all the tools used for network automation. The fourth point, which I said just now, what I said, automation. What I said, automation. So gentlemen, this automation can be achieved through using these tools. Okay, so I will be very nice, Tavish. You have good knowledge that the Python and Ruby are basically the interpreted languages, the scripting languages. So we can use, I'm not sure about this, but probably Ansible, because Ansible uses Python, if I'm correct. I'm not sure. But when you will take this course, that your choice, not a कोई वो नहीं है कि must लेना है, that is your choice. But lot of opportunities are there for this course, this area, automation. So it's your choice. Just my job is to tell you about the future directions. So gentlemen, need to learn about these technologies. So this is about the configuration management. Then is the patch management. What is a patch? Have you worked on this puppet and sard stack, Tabish? Okay, so hoping we will, inshallah. Okay, so what is meant by patch management? Gentlemen, this is a what do you mean by just at CCNA level, Tabish?
Yes, sir. Sir, इससे related कुछ chapters है sir, मतलब network automation से management में, तो like इस level तक sir हमने बात करा।
सॉरी, आपकी वॉइस का थोड़ा सा इशू है। सॉरी, अगर ताबिश क्या है कि बात फौजान को समझ आ गई है तो कैन यू रिपीट, और मोहम्मद को समझ आ गई है तो कैन यू रिपीट इट, बिकॉज आई वाज अनएबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट ही वाज सेइंग।
सर मेरी वॉइस क्लियर है?
अब बेहतर है।
सर मैं कह रहा था सर कि जो मॉड्यूल 3 है सर, उसमें नेटवर्क ऑटोमेशन पे कोई चैप्टर्स है सर?
हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, लेकिन
सीने तक एग्जाम में जो चीजें आएंगी।
yes 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 yes, there is an automation part, only very brief, but when you will be doing a complete course on DevNet, lot of programming and everything is desired. Anyhow, just रिसर्च ये कि अगर कल आपके कोई नाम ले, यू मस्ट नो, तो इससे बड़ा अच्छा इम्पैक्ट जाएगा कि जी यू नो समथिंग। ओके, so what mean by patch management, Muhammad? First of all, what is a patch? Patch is something which fix an issue. For example, you can say that this is a vulnerability. Why? You have seen definitely, Muhammad, that when you have a licensed software, so you get security updates regularly. So what are these security updates? They are the patches, they are the fixes. So it is very important, gentlemen, that you should be looking for the, first of all, the vulnerabilities, as we said about the vulnerability management, and then look for the patches, the fixes which are available, and you must implement them. Probably I gave you an example as well, that there was an attack which created a lot of damage, and the fix of that, the patch of this vulnerability was available six months before, but the people have not implemented them on their system. They were sleeping. So the what we should do, what you people like you should do, they should look at the vulnerabilities and they should look at the available patches and implement them. So patch management involves all aspects of software patching, including identifying required patches. First of all, identify the vulnerability, number one. Number two, then look for the required patches. What are the patches available? Number two, acquire them. If it is free, it is good. If it is not free, buy them, but because it is important. And then distribute it in your company and install them. And after installing, look at whether that problem is resolved. So this is all called the patch management. That check your, we have done already the okay. So gentlemen, what we are saying here is that look at your vulnerabilities, look for the available patches, acquire them however it is possible. After acquiring them, install them, and then verify that the issue is resolved, fixed. This is called patch management. Then is the how you can, what techniques are there for patch management? There are three techniques. Number one, agent based. Number two, non-agent based. We will see agent based, non-agent based as well. agentless, non-agent based, yeah, agentless. And the third one is the passive network monitoring. The three methods or techniques are there for patch management. Are you getting my points, Muhammad? Or it is all going on top of your head? Muhammad has mentioned something probably. Yes, sir. Okay. So it means if he's learning, it's good. So, gentlemen, in the agent based means that you install a certain software which is called a software agent, which is on all your computers is there. So what it is done, that this software, this agent will scan your computer, will look at the vulnerabilities, check the vulnerabilities, check the problems in your configurations, for example, and we will report it. And then it will ask the patch management server to provide him the patches, and these will be installed. So host agent reports on patch status, server deploys and install as required. It means this agent software reports the status of the patch. It is maybe 6 months old. It is not current. It is not updated. So this software will check and will report to the patch management server. He will provide him the latest patches and that will be installed. So this is the first method, agent based. This requires a software agent to be running on each host. The agent reports whether the vulnerable software is installed. It means there is some vulnerabilities are there which has been identified by this software. The agent communicates with the patch management server and determines if patch exists that require installation and install the patches. Agent-based approaches are preferred means of patching mobile devices. So this is the first method. Gentlemen, the second method is agentless. There is no agent. It means no software need to be installed on the end devices, for example. So in this case, now the job is gone to the centralized place, which is the patch management server will scan these all machines. Initially, the scanning was distributed. So in the agent-based method, the scanning is distributed, while in the agentless scanning, the scanning is done centralized. So whenever the server finds that any one of these devices is not having some problem, so it will provide him the patch, and that patch will be installed by the server on these systems. So server detect patch status and installed as required. This is called agentless scanning. And the third one is, gentlemen, passive network monitoring. The server detects patch status. It is somewhat similar to the last one, agentless, but devices require patching and identified through a monitoring of here what is done basically. The patch management server is not scanning the devices, but gentlemen, it is scanning your traffic, and based upon the changes in the traffic, it looks there is some problem or not, and based upon this the patches are installed on your devices. So this is called passive network monitoring. So gentlemen, with this we finished this important topic, which was about the device management, security device management. I hope you understood this, and but if you have any question, I will prefer to answer it. And if I don't have you don't have any question, then I may say Allah Hafiz, because probably Tabish does not have a good maybe the voice system available. Because of this, probably he will not be able to explain his work. but whenever he will have some good mic and on this system, I hope that he will explain his work about the CVSS whenever possible. Is it right, Tabish? And what about Muhammad and Fauzan? Are you clear with the device management?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice.
Uh, sir,
Yes.
how many chapters remain for this course,
This
sir?
is 23rd and total is 5 modules. And the modules are short. We will be starting tomorrow, inshallah, 24th module.
Just is remaining 2 module.
Of total are 28 modules, but they are
Okay,
short modules. Okay.
okay, okay, sir. Sir, what about the other courses?
But what do you mean by other courses?
I mean, for 5 days ago, sir, I talked to you for another course, sir.
Yeah, we will be talking about the other student. Basically, Muhammad and Fauzan, sorry, Tabish and Fauzan. Muhammad is interested in the digital forensic. However, we understand this is very important for the cyber security. It is important for the criminal analysis, cyber criminal. But I don't, although this specific course probably I haven't seen from Cisco, but something can be done on this as well. But I will take your opinion, and if interested, then we can think about this course as well. And but when we will be covering, this is the last 28th module. So see whether it is enough for you for your job and all this. Then you don't need to take another course. And if you feel that something extra is required, then we may think about this. Okay, Mohammed?
Okay,
First,
sir.
I think you should take the 28th module, which is
Okay.
about the digital forensic.
Yes, sir.
And I will try to explain it even more. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much for your time. See you
Okay,
inshallah
sir.
tomorrow. Till then, Allah Hafiz.
Okay, sir.